Hello, and welcome to the National Museum of the Pacific War. I am Brian Degner, the Education Outreach Coordinator, and I'll be presenting today's segment of the Nimitz Minitz right here from our Pacific Combat Zone. And the title of today's program is Gear Up Before Loading Up, the basic equipment issued to a World War II serviceman. Now, let's talk about some of that basic gear and equipment that was issued to our World War II servicemen. First piece of equipment, the Cartridge Belt, made out of a heavy canvas material. Each of these individual pockets, you're going to carry ammunition in it. You'll have a canteen attached to it, carries about a quart of water, and you're going to have a first aid kit. It's got a heavy gauze bandage in it. Now, of course, when they designed this cartridge belt, they made it so that we could add additional equipment, maybe another canteen, a pistol, or maybe even a knife. That's your World War II cartridge belt. They're also going to issue you a field pack. Now, this is a Marine field pack from World War II. It has an upper and a lower compartment. And they're going to carry various items inside this field pack. Some of them will be personal items. Maybe it's letters from loved ones or pictures. A lot of guys carried Bibles, letters from home. They're also going to carry other things in there. And one important item that they carried, and they made sure they had plenty of them, were socks. When our troops were fighting on these islands in the Pacific, they're oftentimes going to encounter wet, muddy conditions. And it was important to take care of their feet, to keep them dry as possible, to prevent them from developing what was known as trench foot or foot rot. Also attached to the field pack is an entrenching tool or a shovel. This is what they're going to use to dig their fighting holes with. The piece of camouflage fabric that you see wrapped around the pack, that is a shelter half. I would have half of the shelter. My battle buddy would have the other half. You put the two together, you've got your shelter for the night. That is your World War II field pack. Now, one of the most deadly weapons used on the battlefield in World War I was gas. And going into World War II, we knew the Japanese did not sign the treaty saying they would never again use poisonous gas. So all of our troops were issued a World War II gas mask. Now, once we began to hit these islands in the Pacific, we quickly discovered the Japanese were not using poisonous gas. So this was usually one of the first pieces of equipment our guys would discard. They would get rid of the mask, but they would hang on to the bag in order to carry extra gear. Now, today I'm dressed as a World War II Marine, and we all know that Marines can walk on water. But we're going to have to get to these islands in the Pacific, and so the Navy is going to take us there aboard troop transport ships. And they're going to issue each one of us a life preserver belt. And you're going to wear this at all times, even when you're on board the troop transport ship, in case that boat goes down and you have to enter the water. You would inflate this by popping the two CO2 cartridges on the end of it, and it would help to keep you afloat. It was also very important for all these amphibious landings that took place in the Pacific. We're always going to have this on. Now, once ashore, we can discard it. The helmet. Our helmet was unique. It was a two-part system. You had a helmet liner. Early versions, they were made out of heavy cardboard. Later, they're going to use a material similar to fiberglass. And it was designed to keep this heavy steel pot off of your head, and it was used to help better fit the helmet to your head. Now, the helmet itself, the steel pot, it's a multi-purpose tool. If the soil is soft enough, you can dig with this thing. You could also heat some water up in it and use it as a sink. Maybe you want to shave. Some guys would cook in the helmet, but that was frowned upon because it would oftentimes weaken the metal. And in a pinch, it would become your porta potty. But very important to remember this. If you are forced to use this heavy steel pot as your porta potty, you're going to want to make sure that you take the helmet liner out first. That's your helmet. Now, You're not going to be able to fight on an empty stomach. So they're going to issue you a mess kit. It's got a knife, a fork, and a spoon in it. Now typically you're going to carry this in your field pack, and you're going to want to wrap up those eating utensils in order to keep them quiet, because you don't want to alert the enemy to where you are. Now in camp, this is going to come in really handy. You're going to open this up. If you go through the mess tent or the chow hall, and they're going to put some food on there, and you're going to eat it, and you're going to like it because it's all you're going to get. But it's not going to be used all that much while you're in battle or on the battlefield. But Uncle Sam will provide you with K-rations, and this is a supper unit. Now included in the K-ration are a package of assorted biscuits, a package of lemon juice powder, 1 can of pork luncheon meat, and we know what they call that today, Spam. 1 D-ration chocolate bar, and I can assure you that D does not stand for delicious, it stands for disgusting. 1 stick of chewing gum to help keep your mouth moist, cigarettes, matches, and the last item, toilet paper. Now, how much toilet paper do you think they were able to put in that K-ration box with all those other items? 1 sheet? 2 sheets? Well, I can assure you that the correct answer of how much toilet paper was in that box was not enough. Now, how might this information relate to you? Well, hopefully, you're not preparing to go into battle, but maybe you are preparing to go to work, or you're preparing to go to school. And you probably have equipment that you need in order for you to be successful in either the workplace or at school. So it's very important that you check and double check to make sure that you have everything you need before you walk out that door in the morning. Now, I want to leave you with this. If you fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Now, I want to thank you for tuning in for today's segment of the Nimitz Minutes, and I hope that you will stay tuned for the next Nimitz Minutes